Welcome to the Istaria Dragon Crafting Beginner's Guide. This isn't meant to be a comprehensive, all-encompassing guide, but rather an introduction to two of the most important, but often confusing windows you'll need in order to become an expert dragon crafter. Section 1. The Knowledge Window. The Knowledge Window can be opened by default hotkey K, hitting Escape on your keyboard and clicking Knowledge, or clicking the gem in the corner of your screen and clicking Knowledge. Opening this and clicking the Formulas tab at the top will show you all of the formulas you have scribed. To open a formula, you can double-click the formula to get a list of all the items that can be created with it. You can also click Show Products in the bottom right corner to see all of the products all of your formulas can make. You can also single-click a formula, then click the Create button at the bottom to create the item. If you're going to make a lot of one kind of thing, you can click and drag a product onto an action bar for ease of access. I like to put my Dragoncraft abilities and my most used formulas on their own action bars as well. On the left side of this window is your filters. As a dragon, you won't have too many categories of things you'll have, but we'll go over the ones you will need. Containers, such as dragon scale packs and dragon cargo discs. Dragon scales, such as strength chest scale or wing scale. Resource, such as stone brick or metal bar. Spells, such as true grit or prime bolt. Technique kits, the formulas for which are generally granted as quest rewards. And weapons, such as dragon claws. You can also filter by beginner formula, which covers levels 1 through 39. Journeyman formula, which covers levels 40 through 79. Expert formula, which covers levels 80 through 99. And Master Formula, which covers levels 100 and above. Each level of formula also covers all previous tiers, so if you have a Journeyman Stone Brick formula, you won't need to keep your Beginner Stone Brick formula in order to make sandstone bricks. Getting rid of formula you no longer need is as simple as right-click and clicking Destroy Selected Formulas. You can also select multiple formulas to destroy by holding Control and clicking the ones you want to get rid of. Note at the bottom that you have a maximum amount of formulas that can be scribed. As a dragon, you won't likely ever reach this limit, however, it is still nice to keep a nice and clean formula list. You can also create your own filters using the plus icon in the lower left corner. To do so, click the button, give it a name, and then you can click and drag formulas into it to populate it. So if you want easy access to certain formulas without hunting through dozens of dragon scales or spells, you could make a strength scales filter and have easy access to all of your strength scale formulas. If you want to delete a filter, simply click on it and click the minus button. To clear all of the filters you have selected, click the box to the right of the filter creation and deletion buttons. And finally, at the bottom of the window, you can search for specific things by typing into the text bar and clicking the magnifying glass icon. To clear the search, just click in the search box again. We'll cover the other two tabs of the knowledge window later in the video, but for now, let's move on to the item creation window. Section 2. Item Creation. Let's start with something simple, and the first thing the Dragoncraft trainer will ask you to make, bronze bars. So there's a lot going on here, and we'll go through each thing one by one. We won't be able to cover everything in this window with bronze bars, but we will be able to see more as we create other items. In the top left corner of the window, we have the item box. The slash icon on the right side of the box simply opens up your knowledge window. The next box, Formula, shows which formula you are using to make the item, in this case, Beginner Metal Bar. Clicking the slash icon on the right side of the box allows you to select other products made by the same formula, in this case, bronze, iron, and silver. The next box is labeled Tool. This is a little bit misleading because dragons don't use tools in the traditional sense, but still requires certain abilities to be active in order to craft. For bronze bars, we need to have our dragon smelting ability equipped. Clicking the slash button on the right side of the box will automatically equip the correct ability, Dragon Smelting 1. Alternatively, you can open your character window with default hotkey C, click the Abilities tab, click the Craft button, and drag your Dragon Smelting ability onto a hotkey bar. Then, going forward, you can click the icon on your hotkey bar or press the corresponding button on your keyboard. All of your Dragoncraft abilities can be added to action bars or activated from the item creation screen. Gathering skills will be automatically equipped if you select Gather on a resource node. Next up, we have the machine box. This box shows us what machine we need to be near in order to craft, in this case a smelter. Smelters are generally scattered around near metal sources, in towns with crafting stations, or on player-owned plots. The slash button on the right will manually engage a nearby smelter in case it doesn't take a hold automatically. It's not something that's needed very often, but it may come up. The next box shows the number of batches we're going to make. Generally, when making items such as bronze bars, we want to make as many as we can. You can drag the slider all the way to the right, or click the up arrow on the right side of the box. This will have you create as many of the item as you can. Next up, we have a box that you won't really be using. It's a slider. The further to the left you slide it, the less resources you'll need per item. However, your success rate will drop as well, meaning that you will fail to create some of the items you're trying to make. This is a noob bait box and can be safely ignored for the entire time you play this game. Next up, we have the custom price box. If you plan on selling the items you make on the consignor, you can use this box to set the price on creation. When you put the items on the consignor, it will automatically list them at that price. You can also do this after creation by right-clicking the resource or item and clicking Customize. If you don't do either of those things, when you list the item on the consignor, it will ask for a price to be listed at. If you're selling multiple of the same thing, note that it's asking for the price per item, not the total price for all of them. On the far right is the item description. For bronze bars, it's pretty straightforward. It's a metal that's needed for trade skills. It has a hoard value listed and a coin value if you sell it to a pawnbroker. Note that pawnbrokers will pay less the more of a single item type you sell to them. And finally, at the very bottom, we have the item creation resource requirements. From left to right, it lists the resource type you need, how many you have, how many you need, how many base you need, how many is added from techniques, which we'll get into later, the skill used, your current skill, the minimum skill required to make the item, and the optimal skill. So let's talk about skill efficiency for a moment. If you hover your mouse over the efficiency bar, it shows you a percentage. This number is how close you are to optimal skill. The closer to optimal you are, the less resources it takes to make the item. For smelting bronze bars, you start at a 5-to-1 ratio, meaning you need 5 copper and tin ores to make 1 bronze bar. Once you hit 33% efficiency, that goes down to 4-to-1. At 66%, it's 3-to-1, and at 100%, it's 2-to-1. There's several ways to increase your skill, including leveling up your dragon crafting school, gaining attributes such as strength, either from leveling Dragon Adventure or from buffs, from adding techniques to your scales and claw, and from player-built crafting machines. In the end, the closer to optimal you are, the more things you'll be able to make with the same resources, and the faster you will level your crafting school. All resources from all tiers have the same efficiency breakpoints, but dragon scales and other types of items may have many more breakpoints. For example, sandstone strength chest scales start off needing 24 sandstone bricks to create, but at optimal efficiency only need 12, so there's 12 breakpoints overall for that scale. Speaking of scales, let's get our sandstone strength chest scale formula opened. We have a few more options here since it's a finished product instead of just a processed resource. Now the box to the right shows us the details of the scale. It gives us plus 10 strength and plus 5 armor. It also shows the equipment slot and the requirements to wear it. Current school level minimum of 1, and either an adult dragon, hatchling dragon, ancient dragon, or kutit. At the bottom of the screen, next to the Create button, we have 2 checkboxes, Auto Deconstruct and Close on Creation. Selecting Auto Deconstruct will destroy the items you are making. However, you will get extra experience for doing so, and some of the resources that went into those items back. You can then use those resources to create more things for more experience. This will be your primary source of gaining experience. If you're auto deconstructing, you'll want to untick Close on Creation. This will leave your item creation window open while you burn through all the resources you have gathered. The next thing is the technique box. Our Dragoncraft trainer Nutrismus will give us an overview of this, but I thought it would be worth touching on here as well. So, from the Techniques Available section in the top middle, we'll select Adventure Dragon Breath, then click the down arrow to add it to our chess scale. Now on the right, it shows the effect of the technique, an extra +5 to Dragon Breath. In addition to that, it increases the minimum skill requirement to create the item from 1 to 11, and increase the optimal skill from 100 to 110. It also added the resources needed to add the technique, 4 dim essence orbs, and a Loriticus beetle carapace. Note that all scales and claws can be teched, but not all techs can go on all scales or claws. If you're looking for new techniques to try out, Tier 1 techniques are sold by Quartermasters in Kion and Solanus. The last thing in the item creation window is the Add to Shopping List button. This can be useful if you're making a lot of items with different techniques. Open a formula with a technique you want to use, apply it, and then click Add to Shopping List. This will give you a new window with all of the resources and monster components that are needed to make the item and how many you have on you. You can do this with multiple items and techniques to make it easier to keep track of what you have left to obtain to create your scales. You can open your shopping list from the gem menu in the corner or by setting a hotkey to it. This is unbound by default. Let's do a demonstration to show the difference buffs, techniques, and player-owned shops can make. First, we'll cast 2 buffs that both give us extra strength, Ancestral Determination and Promote Vitality, which will give us a minor boost to our smelting. Some of our buffs will be abilities given to us as we level adventure, others will be spells that we can craft. We'll also make some technique scales that increase our smelting. Finally, we'll engage player machines, Beginner, which gives +40 skill, Journeyman, which gives +80 skill, and Expert, which gives +120 skill. Player machines are built on player plots, usually near resources. You won't always be able to rely on them, but as you can see, they can provide a massive boost. Adding techniques to our scales requires us to find the techniques, in this case from the Quartermaster and Solanus, and the monster component required for the technique, in this case Forest Crawler Soldier Glands. The Forest Crawler soldiers are out the west gate of Kion, just past the copper and tin ore refinery. After we get all 3 glands, we can take them back to a crafting machine and make our scales. After we make all 3 pieces, they give us a combined total of +12 skill in addition to the +2 we got from our buffs. Dragons only gain 8 smelting per level, so gaining an extra 14 skill is nearly 2 levels worth. Combined with an expert blacksmithing shop, at craft level 9 we're already at 2-to-1 ratio on bronze bars, which is the best we can ever get. As you can see, finding ways to increase our skill is well worth the effort, and as we progress into higher tiers, we'll be able to wear more scales, add more techniques to each scale, and have access to better buffs. A quick note, just because you can make something, in particular spells, doesn't necessarily mean that you can actually use it. Dragons are capable of making all spells in the game, but can only use spells that use the primal skill. Section 3. Techniques Inscribed Spells. Speaking of techniques, let's open our knowledge window again and click the Techniques tab at the top. Similar to the formula window, this shows all of the techniques you have scribed. You can filter by type and tier on the left. You can also make your own custom filters just like in the formula window. You can mouse over or right-click and click Show Details to see what exactly the technique does and requires to apply. You can also add components for an individual technique to your shopping list from the right-click menu, as well as destroy the selected technique. Keep in mind, however, higher tier techniques don't cover lower tier techniques like formulas do. There is a cap on total techniques scribed, but this likely won't be an issue. The final tab on the knowledge window is Spells. These are all the spells you have scribed. This works the same as the other 2 windows. Do note, dragons can only scribe one type of spell, primal, so the top section of the filters on the left won't be of much use to you. The rest of them, however, will be. Filters by Banes, which are debuffs for enemies, Boons, which are buffs for you, Gifts, which are buffs for you that use a gift slot, Area of Effect, Effect over time, Damaging, Healing, Repeatable, Non-Repeatable, and by tier. Custom filters, as well as the search option, is there as well. As a dragon, you likely won't have a crazy amount of spells, but you'll still have enough to benefit from filters. To end this video, I want to give a quick thank you to Istaria Lexica and Istaria Reference. These two websites have a wealth of information on the game and are must bookmarks for any Istaria players. Links to both sites will be in the description. If all else fails, you can always ask other players. The Marketplace channel usually has people willing to answer questions from new players, as well as the New Player Assistance channel. These channels are joined automatically upon character creation. However, if you left a channel, or want to try to find new ones, you can click the speech bubble in your primary chat box, click the channel you want to join, and then click Join at the bottom. Thanks for watching. If this video is helpful to you, stick around. There's probably more Istaria guide videos coming. Good luck in your adventure, and I hope you have a wonderful day.